Hi guys, Chantal here from Nerdy Mama. So today we're going to build a straight cut table saw sled out of just a couple of scrap wood pieces and a chunk of melamine that I've got left over. So let's do this. So basically my major problem was that I had all this fabulous hardwood that my dad had given me this Christmas, but none of it has a straight edge. So I can't build basically anything from it because I really don't know how to build anything without a straight edge. And that's probably a failing on my part, but I figured I would resolve that by building a straight cut sled to put on my table saw. Now, you don't have to use melamine. You can just use a piece of wood that you know has a straight edge. But unfortunately, a lot of the wood that I have actually came off of a scrap wood pile that I got at Lowe's for like $100 for a whole bunch of scrap wood, which is great, but not a single piece of it is straight. There's a reason it was in the scrap wood pile. So I didn't really have anything, but I had this piece of melamine left over from a prior project that didn't work out so well about a year ago. So in essence, it wasn't a scrap piece of wood, but it was close enough. And if you have a piece of melamine just laying around doing nothing, that's really handy. If you don't, you can use a piece of wood that's just got one straight edge to do this exact same trick.
So I had this leftover melamine piece that I'd used it on another project. It had a little stuff on the top, but it just took a little elbow grease to get it cleared off. And then I had this piece of OSB left over from when I put up walls in my garage so that I could shoot YouTube videos. And then I had this fabulous set of little wedges that I had actually cut off during another project. So I took those wedges and I just laid out 3 of them, and they're not even really wedges, to be honest. They're flat. They're not even wedge shaped. They're just ends of 2x4s is really all they are. I don't know why I keep calling them wedges. And then laid them out in 3 places, so I had 3 good anchors. A couple of them needed holes pre-drilled because I was a little worried. All 3 of them needed holes pre-drilled, not just a couple of them. Because I was concerned about tearing up the OSB more than anything else. So if you use a solid sheet of plywood, you probably don't need that. But with the OSB, I was just a little worried about tear out. So, and I just used screws that were a little bit shallower, a little bit shorter than the length of my OSB and the little wedges and the OSB together to make sure that we go pretty solidly into the melamine, but not all the way through. Clearly, you do not want it to go all the way through because then that would scratch up your table saw top, and that would just be terrible. So, just getting those tight on there, and then as you can see, you just kind of squeeze a piece of wood in between those 2 those 2 pieces of wood. They're the melamine and the OSB, and then tighten those down, and that's going to hold the piece of wood that you're cutting pretty solidly. I genuinely, it will not move. So you get it good and tight, and you can pick it up by the wood that's wedged between. It's pretty awesome. Then it was time for a test, so I took it over to the table saw, got her cranked up, and just cut a straight line for the very first time. Yay! I have to say it worked really well getting that cut straight, but then I was worried about what if I had a longer or a wider piece. So I went ahead and pulled out another piece of board that I had that was quite a bit longer, put it in there, got it all tight, and then gave it a little trim to see how we could get that edge straight. And that, look at that, that is a nice straight edge. I have never cut a straight edge that well without a joiner before, and that was literally out of just a couple of pieces of junk I had laying around. Sweet!
So that was a really, really simple project. The thing about it is, a lot of people might say that I should have put like a track on the bottom, or you might wonder, you know, if that's really going to make a straight cut, because, you know, whenever you're pushing it through, are you really going to be able to keep the melamine against the fence? And my answer to that is, yeah, totally. I would have put a little guide, one of the little whatever they call those, the foot that goes underneath the to go in the channel. I would have put that on this. However, that limits how deep you can make the piece of wood that you're cutting straight. And right now, I don't have, my fence only goes out so far, but it does go out farther than the piece of melamine I had. So if I put that little footing on there to get it in the channel, the problem with that would be I would be limiting the width of my cuts. I didn't want to do that. So I could just run this against my fence and be very careful to keep it against the fence. And the thing about that is, that's why you saw me using that holder. That holder has a non-slip surface underneath it, and that's holding the OSB pretty snugly, so that I can keep it against the fence. Basically, just kind of a roundabout way of saying this is good enough, and you don't need it. You don't need the thing that fits in the channel. It's not necessary. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. That shows YouTube that you're enjoying these videos, and if you hit the little notification bell next to the subscribe button, that tells YouTube that you'd like to see these when they come out weekly, to get a little notice on your phone. So if you do that, I'd really appreciate it. It'd show a lot of love to this channel and kind of help me keep growing and keep bringing these videos to you. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Basically, that's all there is to it. Why am I saying this again?